How's it going? Back with the ancient maps. 5,500-year-old Hierakonpolis tomb 100 map in Egypt, which was destroyed by the Egyptian government, but we still have a lot of the photos online from it. And so yeah, this one I basically already showed, but let's see. Well, yeah, this is a close-up on what I think may be the face of America, just as Afro-Eurasia seemed to have like a face that was delineated as, with Korea as Osiris's beard and Manchuria as his face. That this may be based on one of the images. I guess I should have put that up, but one of the images of Amentet Neferet, the beautiful West, who seems to be America, and Osiris. It seems that this may be her face, America's face, and that her, like Quebec, is her one of her arms. And I guess Alaska would be like her other arm, or I'm not sure. Anyway, something like that. So yeah, obviously, like this would be her eyes, this would be her nose, this would be her mouth. And so she doesn't have a beard like Osiris does, so that would make sense if she's Amentet Neferet. And, and basically Hel was the goddess, that was her name in English. She was a important goddess for, my Germanic ancestors before it was beaten out of them. Let's see. So this is a better image of this. It's the same comparison that I did earlier with a shittier pixelated image, but I finally found a better image of this. So, so yeah, it seems like this part is like up here, and his mouth, I think it's blurry, but I think it like points down a little bit here. So that's this part. And, I think this is the legs. This is one leg, and maybe this and this island represent this other leg. And these legs might be represented by these seamounts here. And this tail, I'm not sure. There's a chance it's connected to this island, or it could be something else on the mainland of Cuba there. So there you go. Certainly not like super obvious. Like if I didn't see it, if I didn't see where it is on the map, I probably wouldn't have known that this was Cuba. It's quite stylized. Zoomorphic map. Let's see. So the ancient Egyptian Book of Two Ways refers to Britain. It has an avatar for Britain, but it says in that in that section, the four gods who rose from Uto. So Uto is, I guess this is Uto. Uto is like a goddess. So, I was thinking what would be if Britain rose from something, what would that be? So I was thinking it would probably be like Europe, that, when the sea level rose 10,000 years ago and split Britain from Europe, that would be, Britain rising from Europe, basically being born from Europe. So, let's see, what the hell? Okay, here. So yeah, here's like an image of Uto, also called Wadjet. I guess Wadjet is probably a better pronunciation of the name. So she's, looks to be a land god. Anyway, her face seems to match like Denmark and northern Germany here. And, because this is from, like, this is with north as up. This is with north going that way. So, and it could be that this crown on her head represents that, that maybe the crown points due south. So it's trying to like show her orientation. But the fact that she's green and the fact she's on a she's on a water platform of water on a platform of green, basically tells us she's a land god. She's terrestrial, or it strongly implies that she is likely terrestrial. So I'm guessing she was not just northern Germany and Denmark, but actually was Europe in general, like maybe Western Europe. And so, you can see here the, pointy, obviously the pointy nose kind of there, or upper lip, or whatever you call this. And then there's like this tooth right here, which I think is this part right here. And then it goes around and comes back, and then there's the lower jaw. So I'm guessing the lower jaw is like not just this part, but also some of these what are now islands, but maybe might have originally been connected to this. Basically, like it could have included these islands right here. Or it could just be this, and it could be extremely stylized. Who knows? But I'm guessing it's, yeah, who knows? So yeah, it would make sense that Britain would rise from this, because Britain was kind of connected to that area of Europe. And even like the eye, a lot of this seems quite accurate. Like zoom in a little bit. So like you have the eye here with this contour here, and then this nostril, and then you have these like shapes here. So I think all those might be present. Like this would be the eye, and then this line coming off would either be this line up here that kind of goes in a kind of similar pattern, or it could be this line down here that goes in a similar pattern. The nostril could be like this line, this river, something right there would fit, or something else in there. And then these lines could be like rivers that go into here. So yeah, hard to know for sure about all those, but and then this would just represent probably the rest of Western Europe there. So it could be that if she's Western Europe, then one of these could be Italy, and one of these, I mean, who knows? Like, let's say these could just be symbolic and not specific, or these could be specific and represent, like, let's say Italy and like the Balkans with Greece, and then Thrace here as like the, so she could be all of Europe basically. Yeah, maybe excluding Scandinavia. Maybe Scandinavia was considered to be like kind of part of Ukraine and Russia and stuff, like a separate deity. So anyway, I mean, I think that this is pretty clearly obvious, you know, like this kind of bump for the eye there, and this shape and this shape. And so other than the fact that the lower, that's the main discrepancy, is like, is the lower jaw just this part, or is it this, or does it include these islands? That's the only part that's really confusing at all in that. So yeah, that would be the mother of Britain. She could be the cool of Finn McCool if Finn McCool is Britain. See, this is, you know, I basically showed like this using different images, but here's just like an official comparison of the, what seemed to be the harbor of Atlantis and the harbor of the Mayans in the Yucatan. So that, you know, matches very well. Like I'm leaning towards this as basically strong evidence that these avatars are artificially augmented. The fact that these two would be so identical strongly suggests that these were not just all, you know, coincidental shapes, that a lot of these may have been deliberately carved and augmented by the ancients. So yeah, I mean, you know, in the Book of Two Ways, this gatekeeper, he's called the protector of the two gods, which are Cuba and Hispaniola, which would have naturally been very precious to the Atlanteans, since they are Atlantic isles, more or less, and were probably very central to the Atlantean Empire. But yeah, I mean, like, just the way both of these are so precision, like this angle right here, this angle right here, it just, to me, it looks artificial. It looks like they either cut some parts away or extended some parts using dikes, or both. And like, especially this part here, like this whole, it seems like, as Plato said, that Atlantis's docks were very long, very deeply cut beyond what anyone would even believe that humans were capable of doing, or even are capable of doing. And so this certainly matches, because the angles in this part of the Azores look very, you know, they're very angular and artificial looking. So, you know, like even the shape of his face, like it's kind of like tapers up to the nose there, and like the shape of the ears, you know, it's only very slight differences between these two. So I'm certainly leaning towards this as being, you know, as them both being, or one or both being at least partly artificial, and probably this one being modeled on this one. And there is a, you know, this is Ambergris Key, which is like an island. There's a channel between there, and some people say that the Mayans were dredging this channel for like thousands of years. So if they're dredging this channel, they could well have been dredging this whole friggin' thing. So there you go. And so let's see. These are some that, you know, there's this one. It's basically, so this is Japan here, but then these are these other gatekeepers around Japan. So it seems to be that this is Iki and Tsushima, which are just between Japan and Korea. And then these are Paramushir and Shumshu. You know, that this one is Paramushir and Shumshu, which are just between Japan and Siberia. So they're the two kind of guardians of this whole thing. And but this one, you know, like it seemed to be this, but with the, you know, a different orientation for the head. But I was just putting it as it is in this one. Whereas like, you know, so yeah, like, and I actually might have identified a bunch of these, like it hasn't uploaded into my photos yet to put on my laptop to show, but I think I might have found this one and this guy that's behind here, possibly, and maybe some others that are in this that are a bit, you know, just next to there. Or no, maybe it's just those. Anyway, so it seems that possible that actually, I mean, it's strange because this one, and I'm now leaning towards that this is Isis and Nephthys and Ma'at, and that these maps really were terrestrial celestial, but I can't really prove that at this time, that this would be Isis and this would be Nephthys, and the one that this covers up would be Ma'at. But yeah, so this one, you know, this is these two, and this one makes sense because this one is just like hair, no face, and this one's, you know, has a face. So this island does kind of look like just hair and like, you know, I don't know, to me it fits. I mean, maybe I should have tilted it that way, but it fits to a large extent, and certainly the shape of the body fits pretty well. But for this one, it just almost seems like a total mix of these two, and there's even a chance that it is, because like the shape of her head is, you know, fits better for this, because with the weird flat top and then the long straight line, you know, I mean, it's not exact because the straight line doesn't go to the tip of the nose, but at least it's, you know, that's a pretty good, and the way this straight line and then it tapers to the tip there, it fits like pretty perfectly in that sense. And the body fits pretty well, you know, that like this shoulder is further away from the neck, this shoulder is closer, and, you know, has a dramatic like buttocks, and then you know, like her, and then somewhat of a belly protruding, and so, you know, it fits pretty well for that, but it also fits really well for this, which is just, you know, southwest of there, between here and Japan. You know, it's also between Siberia and Japan. So, you know, there's a chance somehow she's an amalgamation of both, because, you know, her body in many ways fits better this, like certainly the shape on the front fits better for this, and the shape on the legs fits better for this, and her eye, she has this huge freaking white eye fits this, because there's this huge white volcano there, basically white mountain, which would be that eye. So I'm kind of leaning towards that they either merged aspects of these two, or I mean, there's, maybe even a chance that they confused the two, and that just as some of the later redactors of these maps 4,000 years ago would misidentify some of the avatars, so you'd see them merging aspects of different islands together because they were looking for a particular avatar from an ancient map, but they misidentified them as something else, so they kind of merged them together. That could be the case with this, that originally there was an older, maybe a 10,000-year-old avatar that was like this, and may have either represented this or this, but that whichever it didn't represent was the one that whoever made this map, or whoever they copied it off of, incorrectly identified it as, since they're so similar. So they ended up merging aspects of the two based on, merging the earlier avatar with the later misidentification. So that's kind of about where I'm at with that. Who knows? So yeah, if this is Nephthys, Isis, and then I think it's Ma'at that's hidden by this image. So then I think this would maybe be the sun. Maybe this is, Jeju Islands, which represented the rising sun. Just as Japan was, Japan means the land of the rising sun. So, because Isis and Nephthys are Venus rising and Venus setting, and Venus rising is supposed to accompany the sun in his, rising, the morning star. So that would make sense if they're merging celestial with terrestrial cosmography. Iki and Tsushima. Just a bigger close-up of that. So yeah, this is this huge round white volcano there. So that really fits for her eyes, but the shape of her head seems to fit better for this one. So Shumshu, basically. Not sure, what is this? Shumshu, Paramushir, Onikotan, Karimkotan, Shiashkotan, Matua, Rashua, Urup. I think maybe this is Urup. It's in the Kuril Islands. These are parts of the Kuril Islands. That may be Urup, U-R-U-P. And you are what U-P now. All right, so that's fun. So Britain, is this avatar of a giant holding Ulster by the red hand of Ulster. And so this seems to be another version of her. And so this is how Britain was attached. So this is that head of her, and this would be her body, presumably, or probably this whole area of Europe would be her body. And so Britain would be, maybe the four gods that rose from her would be either Britain, Ireland, Shetland, and Orkney, or, you know, some kind of combination like that. And because this is, you know, this was the dry land during the Ice Age, and so this has all been flooded during, you know, the kind of, just kind of like the antediluvian world, quote unquote. So it makes perfect sense why they would be seen as being born from her. And let's see. This is just, I made like an actual comparison based on this, just to show, you know, Shetland and Faroes, that this leg is this thing, this leg is this thing, this elbow is this thing, his head is just this part here, and then his arm and elbow are like this whole thing, and that kind of includes the Heka staff here, I guess. And then Shetland, so that's the Faroes, and then Shetland. Faroes like basically between Scotland and Iceland. It's like if you're island hopping to America, then that's the way to go. And then Shetland, you know, has these, you know, kind of wearing these bloomers. Are these bloomers? No, I don't know. Like these pants that taper down to a point by the foot. And it has a big elbow sticking back, and its head. And I'm not sure, these islands might not be included. So I think this thing that sticks off his belt is this. And then his arm and the Heka staff, I think, are just in here, this stuff, and that would be like the Heka staff. Because the Heka staffs themselves, I don't think are meant to be that specific, because they're like a general symbol of like, they might be a symbol of wind or a symbol of, I don't know, they're just a more abstract symbol. So, no, let's see, what's this? Well, this, you know, I was showing, I don't know if I deleted all my comparisons of Britain, but basically, you know, in the avatars, Britain is holding Ulster, or in the 5,500-year-old avatar, Britain is holding Ulster. And this is one of Ulster's hands. So, you know, the other hand seems to be Island McGee in County Down. I believe it's in County Down, unless that's in Antrim. And I'm trying to see, I thought I had like an image of Britain, but maybe not. Nope. Apparently not. Well, weird. Anyway, I was just going to point out that it seems that this hand of Ulster, which is on the, you know, its westernmost hand, seems to be flipping off Britain, which is like, because Ireland is like these three hostages held by Britain as this giant or god or whatever. I mean, they're all gods basically, but anyway, so it makes sense that he would be flipping off Britain. And in that cosmology, Britain is the, oh, here we go. So yeah, like, this is, he's holding Ulster, and Ulster has these two hands. So one hand is Island McGee over here, and the other hand is up here, which is basically this. So this hand, he's like, whoa, fuck you guys. So he's like flipping him off. That's how I see it. You know, because wouldn't you, that would be like pretty natural to like There's so he was born from Uto, so this would be Uto, basically Europe, and